Hi, this is Tony at Views from the Man Cave, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at the Triumph Thruxton R. As you can see from the stickers on the tank, this was kindly loaned to me for the day by Jack Lilly of Romford. Thanks guys, and as usual I won't go into too much of the technical details. You can go away and search plenty of that on the web. I just wanted you to have a look at the bike. I'll go through some of the minor details and then give you some information on how I think it rides. The Thruxton R model differs over the standard Thruxton in several ways. It still has the same 1200cc higher power engine, but the R is fitted with Showa 43mm big piston forks, which are fully adjustable with 120mm of travel. It also has twin floating Brembo discs at 310mm and monoblock radial calipers, 4-piston versions. At the back end you've got Öhlin twin rear shocks, again with 120mm of travel. It's also fitted with the sticky Pirelli Diablo Rosso Corsa tyres. And the rear brakes are the same, the standard 220mm Nissin 2-piston setups. It has a very nice Monza cap, and instead of the street tin with just a single dial, the Thruxton in both the R and the standard model have this twin dial setup. Let's pull in the clutch, hit the startup button and let you hear what it sounds like on startup. As you saw on the Street Touring review, you have this little info button on the left hand side that will cycle through. You have the time, you can turn the traction control and ABS on and off, you have the odometer and 2 trip levels. There's another additional button which is the mode button here, which takes you through the 3 settings, which are either road, sport and rain. You can cycle through those only when the bike is stationary though. I think Triumph have done a great job with the standard mufflers. These sounds fantastic straight out of the factory. The important thing, I guess, is how it rides. It is a cafe racer inspired bike, so the riding position is slightly aggressive. It has rear sets and clip-ons. As you can see, the clip-ons are not particularly low and the rear set's not too far back, so it does give a really nice, comfortable riding position. That slightly canted forward position means the bike is very chuckable and likes being leaned into corners. It's a very nimble bike despite its weight, and as usual in this test I've taken it through a mix of roads, so it's fast A roads, country lanes where there's potholes, negative camber and bad road surfaces. I think this camera angle shows you what a nice place this is to be when you're riding the bike. That slightly hunched forward over the narrow tank with the Monza cap and the narrow handlebars is a real pleasure when you're riding on any type of road. The 1200cc engine delivers 96 brake horsepower, but it does it very smoothly with gobfuls of torque, so it's a really nice smooth ride and certainly not an intimidating bike for new riders or for people maybe taking a step up from a smaller capacity bike. Non-threatening it may be, but this doesn't mean this isn't a quick bike. Crack open the throttle and flick your way up through the very slick 6-speed gearbox and this bike will take off like a scalded cat. It's noticeably sharper and quicker than the 900cc Street Twin, and those stock pipes give a lovely soundtrack to accompany your ride. The 112 Newton meters of torque that the engine produces makes overtaking an absolute breeze. Most of the time there's not even a need to change down. The smoothness and flexibility of the engine also makes the Thruxton R a delight to ride around town. It carries its weight low, which makes it very stable yet nimble, and the narrow bars make it very easy to thread through traffic. So whether it's commuting through towns, bimbling through country villages or pootling along country lanes, this bike is happy anywhere. I mentioned the riding position, and after a day's riding I found it to be very comfortable. It doesn't put any undue pressure on your wrists. The rear sets, as I say, are not too far back, so you don't find any discomfort there. And actually I found the single seat on the Thruxton R to be slightly more comfortable than that of the Street Twin over longer journeys. Where this bike really comes to life is on the twisties. I ride a lot around the Essex countryside where there are some beautiful roads, but the conditions of the roads aren't always great. There is often potholes, rough surfaces and odd cambers, but the Showa forks up front and the Öhlins suspension at the back dealt with that very, very well, and I had no dramas during the ride whatsoever. So in summary, what are my final thoughts on the bike? Well, it's a beautifully engineered machine. The attention to detail is very, very nice. Lots of touches like the Monza fuel cap, the polished top yoke, and the overall finish of the bike is lovely. It's great to ride. It's a quick bike. The one thing I didn't mention in the review is it's got very, very good brakes. That Brembo setup offers exceptional stopping power, and if you combine that with the ABS, you can haul this thing to a stop very, very quickly indeed. I guess to give a balanced review, I'd have to look at some of the negatives, but they're very few and far between, if I'm being honest. The first thing that strikes me is that really ugly rear mudguard and light setup. That would have to be the first thing that I get rid of, but that's what the accessory and the insulation packs are there for. To you to make the bike your own. Another bit that bugged me over the ride were the instrumentation. The clocks look very nice in their silver and their shiny chrome. However, if you're riding it in bright sunshine with the sun shining over your shoulder, I actually found those clocks quite difficult to read, and in this instance I did prefer the matte black clocks on the Street Twin. The only other problem that I encountered was that occasionally it was difficult to engage first gear. It was a bit like going back to my old Moto Guzzi with the shaft drive, in that there might lead to be a little bit of rocking backwards and forwards to get the gear engaged. It didn't happen too often, and it may well have just been a foible with this particular bike. Well, the acid test, I suppose, is if I was spending my own money on this bike, would I buy the Thruxton R? And the answer, I guess, is yes, although I would probably plump for the standard Thruxton. It has the same engine, it will go the same, it looks largely the same, but you're not having to shell out for the adjustable forks and the Öhlins rear suspension, which, to be honest, I think on UK roads may be just a little bit of overkill. And therein lies the other problem that I had with the bike. As good as the bike is, the gold shocks up front and the yellow springs on the rear shocks are just a little bit garish. It's not so bad on the silver bike, but if you look at one of the red bikes, there's just a little bit too much colour going on. Some people will like the gold, but for me, just the straightforward black would have been nice. The other problem, I guess, with the upside down forks is that you do need to have those fork guards on the front, which takes away a little bit from the retro styling. I don't want to end on a negative though. This bike is an absolute cracker. It goes as well as it looks, and I think the price tag is actually a pretty good value for the entire package. Could I live one of these day to day? Yes, I could. Would I have one in my garage? Yes, I would. The best thing I can suggest though is to get to your local Triumph dealer, take one out for a test drive and make your own mind up. You won't be disappointed whichever of the two Thruxton models you choose.